An effective upkick is one of the most important skills for fast underwater kicking. If swimmers can't kick well in both directions, they're not going to be able to create a ton of speed underwater. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most neglected skills in developing fast underwater kickers. Let's fix that. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. The upkick is critical for creating propulsion in and of itself, and it sets up a really powerful down kick. And the faster it happens, the more effective kicks that swimmers can execute in a given amount of time. So if the upkick isn't rocking, swimmers are going to really struggle to create speed underwater. Unfortunately, it's a hard skill for swimmers to understand, and if the right muscles aren't trained sufficiently, it can be very difficult for swimmers to execute the skill, even if they understand what to do. Let's check out a simple strategy that you can use with any type of swimmer, and it's effective at developing both the skill and the fitness necessary to execute the skill. When it comes to fast underwater kicking, the upkick is key. And so faster underwater kickers have a better upkick. You can see this anecdotally if you watch your swimmers, and it's been validated in high-level swimmers multiple times in research. It's consistently been shown to be one of the only variables related to how fast swimmers kick underwater. And so swimmers with a good upkick are able to execute the skill faster, and they're able to execute the skill with a higher level of skill. A really important consideration is that the upkick itself is actually straight. The knees do not bend during the upkick. The whole leg moves up so that it can snap back down during the down kick. And that movement is driven by the muscles on the back of the legs, primarily the glutes and the hamstrings. So swimmers have to figure out how to execute this skill, and they have to train the necessary muscles so that they can execute it at a really high level. When swimmers can do that, they're going to have a more skilled upkick, and they're going to have a faster upkick. So let's take a look at it in action just so that we're clear about what swimmers are trying to recover. And so if you watch there, what you're going to see during the upkick right here is that the legs recover straight, and they only bend right there by the time that the down kick is actually started. So the thighs are moving forward, and that's what bends the knees, not the upkick itself. So straight up and then snap down. Straight up and then snap down. And so again, the faster that they can execute that upkick, the faster they're going to go. The tendency a lot of swimmers have is that they just bend the knees in both directions, but in reality, it's got to be straight up and then snap down, straight up and snap down. And you can see with this swimmer here, the upkick is happening fast. There's no hesitation. The foot speed is fast in both directions, and that's what's really key for helping swimmers go fast underwater. Unfortunately, it can be a difficult skill for swimmers to learn. First, it's very hard for them to feel. It happens very fast due to the fast overall kick rate of underwater kicking, and it's very different than the down kick. And so what happens is a lot of swimmers try to do the same thing in both directions, when in reality, it's two very different skills. It's straight up on the up kick and then snap down on the down kick, as opposed to just bending the knee and moving the foot up and down. And so because those two different movements need to happen, and they need to happen very fast in an alternating manner, it can be difficult for swimmers to feel and understand what they have to do. A second major issue is that a lot of swimmers are pretty weak on the backside of their legs. Their hamstrings aren't very strong, their glutes aren't very strong, and I don't just mean strong in the ability to create a lot of force, they can't really maintain force either, and so they really lack endurance. Overall, they're just very undertrained, they're very underdeveloped, and so we're asking swimmers to perform high-level skills with those muscles. It's hard for them to generate the force necessary to recover the legs fast and to do that over and over and over again. And a lot of kicking is often performed on the stomach, and this only serves to emphasize the down kick and underdevelop the up kick. So the up kick isn't necessarily put under much pressure, and the muscles responsible for a great up kick are often underdeveloped because a lot of the kicking happens on the stomach. So a very simple way to solve both problems is streamline dolphin kick on the back. Kicking on the back in general is going to improve the up kick because there must be an effective up kick or there's no forward progress. If swimmers try to bend their knees when they kick behind the body, that's just like putting on the brakes, and it's just adding a ton of resistance as swimmers move through the water. So they learn real fast that they've got to recover the kick straight and then snap the kick forward. They get really clear feedback about what works and what doesn't because they simply won't go anywhere if they're bending the knees on the up kick. Secondly, because they're on their back, it's going to put a lot more pressure on the muscles on the back of the legs. They've got to kick through the resistance of the water because they're on their back, and that's going to train the hamstrings and the glutes. And finally, the streamlined position, which swimmers are going to use when they're going underwater, forces them to stay pretty stable with their upper body, so they can't get around a poor upkick by just undulating a lot. They've got to keep things tight and they've got to keep things fast, just like they'll be doing underwater. Now, what's the benefit of kicking on the surface as opposed to kicking under the water? Well, kicking on the surface allows for a lot more volume. They're going to get a lot more practice with the skill, and they're going to get a lot more fitness with the legs because they're performing so much more volume. Volume is going to drive physical adaptations, particularly because those muscles are so underdeveloped, and volume means more practice means more improvement. That being said, this strategy is going to be a lot more effective if performed at speed. And so rather than just doing a ton of volume, do as much volume as possible done really well with a certain level of effort and intensity. That's what's required to kick fast underwater. So more or less, that's what should be used on the surface of the water. They don't have to worry about breathing, so they can do a lot more. However, it still needs to be done really, really well. So here's a quick visual of what we're trying to do. So tight streamline on the surface, being really effective with the kick, being really good with the down kick. And again, because the legs are moving back down under the surface of the water, they're going to have to be really good with the kick and that's moving behind the body. That's going to develop those muscles and it's going to reinforce a straight action moving behind the body. And that's exactly what we want. And because they're on the surface, they get more practice, they're able to improve faster. Now, how do you make this strategy even more effective? First, you can add speed and add kick rates. So do a lot of the work fast to really overload skill and overload strength. And rather than just telling them to go fast, you can put a kick rate on them with a tempo trainer and tell them to keep up at higher and higher speeds. That's going to force them to learn to execute those skills faster and faster. You could also put the kick rate a little bit slower than normal and then still try to get them to go as fast as they can. And that's going to require them to be really good with getting as much as they can out of each kick. You can also add resistance, which is going to mean more skill and more fitness. They're going to get more skill because they're going to be able to feel the resistance. They're going to have more awareness of what they're doing. They're going to have to learn how to hold water working against the resistance. And because of the added load, it's going to accelerate fitness development as well. They're going to have to work harder. They're going to gain more muscular endurance. They're going to gain more muscular strength. You can resist the feet themselves with drag socks or shoes or something like that. Or you can resist the body with a parachute, a cord, a power tower, whatever you have. Both strategies can be really effective. Now, we are having them kick on the surface of the water, so as much as possible, mix in some underwater work so that swimmers can have the chance to take what they're learning on the surface, emphasizing the up kick, and then really put that into practice when they go back underwater. And since going underwater is what we're really trying to get after, it makes sense to incorporate it into those sets as well. So here are two sets that use this strategy to help swimmers improve their up kick. First set, a little bit more endurance space. They're going to go 425, streamline dolphin kick on the back, build to fast, and then they're going to go 4 100s, streamline dolphin kick on their back, descend 1 to 4 to fast. Then they're going to go 225s as 15 underwater. They are fast, and we're going to repeat that same basic pattern. So the next set, they're going 425s, build to fast. They need to start faster. Then they're going to go 475s, descend. Now they're going to descend down to even faster, and they're going 225s, 15 underwater. They are fast again as well. Then they're going to go 425s again, start even faster on the builds, 450s, descend 1 to 4 to fast. They're trying to go even faster at the end, and then 2 more 25s fast with a 15-meter underwater to start. Then the last round, they're just going 425s all out fast, and then 225s 15 meters underwater fast. So there's a pretty good amount of work here, and the goal is to try to be really consistent, do it at a really high level, and get better as they go. The second set is a little bit more speed-based. They're going to go 425, streamline dolphin kick on the back. They're going to go a tight descend 1 to 4, and they've got drag socks on, so they've got to work against the resistance that's on their feet. They're going to have to be really good with the up kick. Then they're going to go 412.5s, underwater kick fast. The odds are from a push. The evens are from a dead start. Those are with drag socks as well. Now they're trying to execute those skills underwater and being really good, working the up kick underwater. Then they're going to do a 25 swim fast. The first 12.5 to 15 meters is underwater. They've got to be really good with that, transition to a great breakout, and then keep going fast. They're going 4 rounds through that. They're going to get a lot of work at a really high level with the drag socks. That's going to further enhance their skill development, further enhance their fitness development. If you want to learn more about how to take a comprehensive approach to developing the up kick, check out the video below.